Hello, I'm Jasmine Sahu and welcome to the Wednesday edition of What's On. Jordan, your normal presenter for today, has unfortunately been taken ill, so sorry about that. No fantastic moustache action for you today. We wish Jordan all the best and hope that he recovers soon. Hopefully he'll be back with us for next week's show, telling you all about the amazing things going on right here in Sheffield. But the show must go on. Coming up on tonight's programme, we take a look at a weekly sword fighting class. And with me on the sofa, I have Chris Ward, the chairman of Sheffield Chorale, a mixed voice choir with an international reputation, who operate out of the Horizon Methodist Church on Ecclesall Road. He'll be telling me all about the concert they're putting on this coming weekend. Before all that, however, it's time to find out what's on in art and culture. There's plenty going on in the theatre at the moment. A great venue to look out for is the Sheffield University Drama Studio. Starting there tonight, we have L'Augmentation, a play about the comical attempts of one man to get a pay rise from his boss. The adaptation of Georges Perec's book is being put on by the French Society Players and runs until Friday the 20th of March. Yen Shen, a Cinderella story from China, is on tour at the Montgomery Theatre this Friday and Saturday. Yen Shen comes from a 9th century Chinese tale which supposedly predates the first European version of Cinderella by over 1,000 years. Head to the Montgomery Theatre website to grab your tickets and find out what this colourful performance adds to the story. And lastly, Northern Ballet's rendition of Wuthering Heights is starting at the Lyceum tonight. The winners of Best Dance Company at the Taglioni European Ballet Awards will be performing until Saturday the 21st of March. Tickets range from £15 and the first showing is at 7:45 p.m. A fantastic range of performances there for you. A truly multicultural lineup for a truly multicultural city. But now let's take a look at what this city is getting up to in the community. Do you think it's possible to read someone else's mind? Well, you can find out this coming Friday at a charity psychic night for Bluebell Wood Children's Hospice. Featuring the talents of Kirsty Kellick and Brian Bowring, the evening of entertainment is taking place at Telmere Lodge on Mansfield Road, and guests are asked to arrive at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. start. Tickets are £10. Next, we have a pick from the Festival of Debate. Tomorrow evening at 6 p.m, go along to Sheffield Students' Union for an evening of inspiration called Your Europe, Protecting Human Rights and Freedoms. Food and drink will be available and there will be stalls from NGOs. This is your chance to examine the impact of Europe on our freedom, so don't miss out on that. And finally, there's a networking event for tradeswomen at the Rutland Arms on Friday night. Go along at 7 p.m. to find out about possible jobs at Sheffield College, to grab a free pizza and socialise with other like-minded people. More details are available from www.westskills.org.uk. Some great events there. If you want to make a difference in this city, there's no shortage of opportunities. Now on tonight's programme, we're going to be seeing a film made earlier this week about a sword fighting class going on in the Jesus Centre on Broomspring Lane. Participants can learn to use the medieval longsword, the Renaissance rapier, the staff or stave, among other things. We thought that sounded like great fun, so our reporters Monica Mistry and Lucy Cartwright went along to take a look.
Here at the Jesus Centre in Sheffield with the Society for the Study of Swordsmanship.
And we're going to have a go at sword fighting and getting to grips with a long sword.
Forward. Right. You've got your hands in that position, you've got it up and there.
How's it going?
I just want you to...
I'm just thinking of the beginning. It starts with his work straight with the short edge.
Why did you choose to get into swordsmanship?
I'd been doing martial arts for the previous 20 years and had kind of reached the stage where, in terms of the Japanese stuff I was doing, I was too old to do the break falling and started going to the armories to have lessons in German longsword.
I used to play role-playing games as a kid years ago, and then where I'm from, somebody I knew is quite a famous person in the kind of HEMA scene, and about a month before I moved away from there I found out about that, and so he introduced me to it just kind of by talking about it, and then when I moved to Sheffield I went looking for a club there.
I went to a fair at Norfolk Park about 8 years ago, and there was a lot of reenactors there, and I got involved doing a practical group, and it was me, one other guy, lots of kids doing it.
So how long was it before you became an instructor?
It was just a progression, if you like, from doing it long enough. Eventually you decide that you probably need to teach, and they send you on a course and you get insured.
Could you tell me a bit about what's going on today?
Okay, so today is the longsword class. We do several different weapons throughout the month and then rotate.
I teach a weapon called Dussack, which is from the kind of Renaissance period in Germany. You'll have to look it up, it's quite difficult to describe. And Chris teaches rapier once a month.
And so you've got a lot of different types of weapons. What is your favourite and why?
My favourite is the longsword, followed by the staff. They're actually weapons that I really, really like.
Longsword at the moment, yeah, definitely, yeah. It's just, it's the iconic knightly weapon, isn't it?
So my favourite is the weapon we'll be training next week, which is the rapier. This is a slightly later weapon. It's the first weapon that I trained with, and it's got lots of interesting things to do with it. You can use it with a dagger, you can use it with a cloak or with a buckler, or just on its own. The Society for the Study of Swordsmanship is a group of sort of Western martial arts classes that was set up about 13 years ago.
What benefits have you gained from doing it?
There is the physical part, actual getting at the sword, getting sweaty with it, fighting people with a sword, but also for me, I like diving into the manuscripts and trying to figure out what they say, because it's all, they didn't have any editors back then.
Well, you become fit because these things are quite heavy. They're usually about kind of 1.5 kilos, and mine, the one I have at home that I had made for me, is slightly heavier than that. The benefits are that you're bingo wingless, which is my personal favourite. I would say that it's probably limited in terms of self-defence, but you do gain a lot of confidence through the fact that, as you can see behind me, people are slinging large pieces of weapons at each other. So you know, you learn to stand still.
So how can people get involved if that takes their fancy?
Okay, so if anyone wants to get involved with the Sheffield group, you can visit our website, which is weaponskills.org.uk, or they can give us a call, or just look online and find a class that's local to you. There's a lot of Western martial arts in popular culture, whether you sort of realise it or not. If you watch Game of Thrones or anything like that, you'll see people using long swords and rapiers and different weapons. Have a look online for the weapon that you like the look of or want to train in, and see if you can find a group.
Quite a spectacular hobby there. If you fancy taking up the offer of a month of free sword fighting classes, you can check it out every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. at the Jesus Centre on Broomspring Lane. So from the sound of swords clashing, let's move on to a sweeter soundtrack with our live music listings. At the Rocking Chair on Ferville Avenue tomorrow, we've got a springboard event featuring North Adolescents, the Puppet Committee, Drivers of Death Machines and Alex Harrison. Some really promising up-and-coming musicians in that lineup, so who knows what you could discover. The doors open at 6:30 p.m. This Friday, Lucy Rose is playing at Plug, described by the Sunday Times as one of the country's most promising new voices. This is an acoustic bass set which is sure to please fans of Kirsty MacColl. Tickets are still available and the doors are open at 7:30 p.m. And looking ahead, fans of Nina Simone, Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin might be interested to check out Papa Soul, who are playing at the Old Crown Inn on Saturday the 28th of March. It's usually a busy night there on a Saturday, so make sure you get in early if you want to catch some of your soul favourites performed live. A pretty active scene in music, as there always is in Sheffield. Sport is another of this city's great strengths, so it's time to see what's happening out there in the next few days. Once again, we've got the ladies' teams active in the Sheffield and District Squash League. The Hallamshire ladies' first team are playing the Phoenix ladies tomorrow. That's at the Hallamshire Tennis and Squash Club on Ecclesall Road, right by Hunter's Bar. The Thursday five-a-side public league is on as usual at the Goodwin Sports Centre. Play kicks off at 8:15 p.m. and a good match to look out for is Misfits FC versus Norton Oaks All-Stars. These are the league table leaders, so it's all to play for. And finally, if you're interested in getting involved with badminton, Abbeydale Park Badminton Club has a new members session next Friday evening. Whatever level you're at, whether you've never seen a shuttlecock before or can whip around the court with no effort at all, this is your chance to meet the club's committee and figure out where you fit in. That's from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Abbeydale Sports Club. That's it for our listings this evening. Remember, you can tell us about anything we've missed by emailing us on whatson@sheffieldlive.org. I'm now going to be speaking with Chris Ward, the chairman of Sheffield Chorale. First formed in 1974, Sheffield Chorale is a highly respected constant in the Sheffield music scene, performing music from the Renaissance right through to the modern day. They raise thousands of pounds for local charities and perform both around the country and abroad. So welcome to the programme, Chris.
Thank you.
We can't wait to hear more. I think you were saying earlier that I was saying that a bit wrong. How am I supposed to pronounce?
Well, we call ourselves the Sheffield Chorale.
The Sheffield Chorale. So what kind of music is it that you actually perform?
We perform all sorts of music, really, as you said in your introduction, right the way from the Renaissance, right the way through to modern pieces. It's all vocal music, usually with an organ or a piano accompaniment, sometimes a cappella. We rarely get to perform with an orchestra, but we have done that in the past.
And what kind of singers do you have?
We have a very good set of committed amateur singers. We do perform to what we think is a high standard, but most people do have a day job or are retired, but we are a keen amateur choir.
So people can join you if they're beginners and they haven't had formal training?
Absolutely, yeah. We have vacancies in all vocal parts. All we look for is a basic sense of musicality, perhaps an ability to sight read, and just basic musical competence. But we certainly don't expect expertise or soloists.
And do you do any kind of training with people to help them improve their voices?
Not directly. We do have an excellent musical director, and I think most people in the choir would say that their singing has improved through his guidance. Some of the people have had singing lessons, and some of the singers in the choir are really, really good. But directly, no, we don't provide that.
So, can you tell me what kind of things you do when you have a rehearsal? What's a typical rehearsal like?
Typical rehearsal is we rehearse in two halves, so we normally last about 2.5 hours. Often start with vocal exercises just to warm us up, and then we'll go straight into whichever pieces we're rehearsing for. Neil, our musical director, has a very interesting take on it, so we don't go right the way through a piece, starting at the beginning and finishing at the end. He'll often start us on page 52 or something, or section 7, and we'll sometimes learn the music backwards, as it were. So it's often quite late in the rehearsal process. We actually sing a piece right the way through. But we dip in and out of pieces. So at the moment we're rehearsing the Poulenc for Saturday's concert, and we rehearsed on Monday night, and we started with that, and we did something else, and we came back to it. So it does keep the choir on its toes.
Absolutely. Just nice to change things up, I suppose, and keep everybody excited about what they're going to do. Can you tell me a bit about Saturday's concert?
Sure, yeah. Well, it's at Holy Trinity's Millhouses, starting at 7:30. And it's a programme, a varied programme. The main piece, I suppose, we're doing is Poulenc's Mass in G, which, for those people who don't know it, is a very quirky piece. It was written in the 1930s, and I think it's fair to say we found it quite a challenge to learn it. It's not written with any key signatures. There's a lot of accidentals in the music, and it has taken quite a bit of mastering, but hopefully we're there. We're also singing a big piece by a composer called Herbert Howells, and that's called Taking Earth for Cherishing. And that piece apparently was written to commemorate the assassination of JFK. And that's another very modern, quirky piece, which again has taken some getting used to. But then to balance that, we're doing some more lighter pieces from our back catalogue, as it were, quite a few little folk songs. And a piece which people may be familiar with is A Song for Athene by John Taverner, which was sung at the Princess of Wales's funeral.
That sounds really good. That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for coming along and telling us all about that. So just to reiterate, Songs for the Spirit, which is the concert that's going to be taking place, is at Holy Trinity Church in Millhouses. That's this coming Saturday at 7:30 p.m. It's time to check out what's happening online and find out what you, the people of Sheffield, are talking about. So we've been looking through Twitter mostly, and people are quite excited about Northern Ballet performing Wuthering Heights. Julia A, that's at Jewel GA. Not long before I see if at Northern Ballet's Wuthering Heights remains my favourite ballet at Sheffield Lyceum. Welcome to Sheffield, smiley face. We've also got people talking about the Sarah Kane season at the Crucible. A chap called Bert Macklin, that's at Alice Yar. Never wished I lived near Sheffield more than I do right now. The Sarah Kane season at Crucible Theatre has looked absolutely insane. And if you check out the rehearsal pictures that are on the Crucible website, it really is quite amazing. We've also got people talking about the Festival of Debate, which continues on throughout this month and into April. Okay, so that is all we have time for on tonight's programme, and what an excellent lineup of events it has been. If you think we've really missed something important though, don't hesitate to get in touch with us and tell us all about it. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, you can tweet us at Sheffield Live, or use the hashtag What'sOnSheffield. Our email is what'son@sheffieldlive.org. Let us know and we'll do our best to get your events in the next show. Next on Sheffield Live is our daily news programme, so don't go away. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.